Coming up today on the Waine Train, we are evenly poised with Manchester City going to the second leg of our Champions League Semi-Final. Hopefully, we can make our way through to the big show, and then off the back of that, there's 3 games left in the Premier League season. We just need 1 win to lift the title. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 42 of the Waine Train here on Sean Does FM with Plymouth Argyle. I hope you're doing well, as I said, coming up today. First up, the second leg of our Champions League Semi-Final locked up at 1-1 with Manchester City, with that second leg to be played at home park. And off the back of that, we'll get through our last 3 games of the Premier League season, just needing 1 more win to lift the title. So if you're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. Off the back of yesterday's episode, where we took on Liverpool in the Prem and played that first leg against Manchester City. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Just one game that we have played since then. It was in the Prem, and thankfully it actually worked out perfectly for us heading into the second leg against City. We ran away with a 4-2 win over Everton. Really got the job done here inside of the first half, which did allow us to rest some of those players who we do want to start for the second leg of this Champions League semi-final. First half goals there to Reece Williams, Pizarro, Samadžić from the spot, and then Aaron Kunda. Because of that, took quite a few of those players off at half-time, as well as the likes of Simon Som. So it did mean more of our rotation type players did play the second 45 minutes of this game, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he did grab a double, but by that stage it was too little too late, and we pick up 3 points there in the Premier League. And what that does for the table going into our final 3 games, we are 5 points clear of Arsenal, a further point back to Chelsea, 2 further back to Liverpool. Those teams only have 2 games left in the season, and with our goal differential, I'm pretty sure the only team who could go past us at this point is Arsenal, and that's if we pick up no points from our last 3 games. The truth be told, a draw might actually be enough, just 1 point from those last 3 games, but hopefully we can pick up a win at some stage during today's episode off the back of the second leg of the Champions League semis against City and get a trophy lift here at Plymouth Argyle off the back of a very good season domestically, where we have only so far lost 3 games. Hopefully that record does stay intact. But first up today, City in the Champions League in that second leg of the semi-finals. A 1-1 draw away from home yesterday. Was quite happy with that, especially because it did take us a while to grab that goal to get things back to all square. And so far this season, we haven't actually lost to Man City. We beat them 2-1 earlier in the season against them in the FA Cup quarters at the Etihad, and earlier it was a draw at home park. Hopefully we can find a way to get the better of them this time and make our way through to a maiden Champions League final in our first season in that competition. Also, off the back of that, we then play them again back at the Etihad in the Premier League. That could be the game where we do lift the title. Bit of double misery there for Pep Guardiola, who apparently still under a little bit of threat of being fired in these next couple of games. So we might have a chance here to get Pep sacked from that City job. But 1-1 going in to the second leg, and against the Manchester City team, who, as you can see there, bottom right corner, it does look like have a few more injury concerns than we have currently here at Plymouth Argyle. Just 1 new one off the back of yesterday's episode, and it did come from that Everton game. Damian Pizarro gashed upper leg. That does mean he's unavailable for this first game today in the Champions League. So it does mean our depth in terms of the backup to the Waine Train not quite as strong, but hopefully Waino can put out a good performance and that won't be an issue. Also, Balumi, he's still out. That doesn't make too much difference. Unregistered for the Champions League, but hopefully we can pick up yet another home park win in the Champions League and make our way through to a Champions League final, where we would be taking on Napoli off the back of them getting past Barcelona 3-1 on aggregate, but we'll come back shortly and hopefully make our way to the big dance and get past Man City. And here are the team sheets for this first big game of today's episode, the second leg of this Champions League semi-final. Just one change to our first choice 11 these days. Mosquera at right back, Serginho Dest on a heavy workload, very, very injury prone. So Mosquera will start at right back. Apart from that, at full strength, there are City dealing with a couple of injuries, but of course Kevin De Bruyne comes back from suspension for this second leg, but hopefully at home park we can still pick up a win and make that final. And it's taken a long time for the first highlight of the second leg of the semi. It's the half-hour mark so far, quite even, but City yet to get a shot on target. All of ours so far have been, and Nestri Irankunda there from ball floated in from Samardzic to the far post. He puts that one away past Edison, and we take a 1-0 lead on the day, 2-1 up on aggregate, and the first highlight does result in a goal. Good work there from our right-sided players in both Mosquera and Samardzic helped out there. I think that was by Som, but good header there from Irankunda at the far post. And we take a 1-0 lead. In fact, shortly off the back of that, there is now a throw into City down the other end. They'll be looking for an instant equaliser. Now Ruben Diaz starts to make his way forward, picks out Bernardo Silva, and then they try and play that one back to Stones on the yellow card, but good work that time from Iliev, albeit Stones does recover well, and they get that ball back, nearly give it away there with a pass to the centre, but unluckily City do keep that ball, albeit now but at aerial ping pong, and the goal scorer Nestri gets that one back for us. Now Iliev might have a chance here to square this for a teammate, goes back to Nestri, tries to put that one top left corner, and that one goes quite close to Nestri with some good impact around the half-hour mark of this game as we now hold a 1-0 lead. And just prior to half-time, one more highlight here, a free kick in our favour. Again going far post, and Simon Som with a header. That one comes off the woodworks so far. Looks like we're doing a bit of damage here with our threat from aerial situations, which is a bit interesting, but not many highlights in that first half, and all of them did end up being in our favour. That is obviously going to be the case because City so far have not had a single shot on target, but that was a pretty solid first half. Everyone out there on a decent rating. Well, I don't think any subs needed yet. We'll get the second half underway, looking to hold on to our 1-goal advantage. And just making our way into the first minutes of the second half, and Osmano Diamonde has picked up a yellow card. Good player, but I think we'll play things safe here, make sure he doesn't pick up a second and a suspension with a red for the final. Jacob Graves can come on for him, still at 1-0 in front. And just about to make our way into the last 20 minutes of this one, still no highlights in the second half, but the Waine Train has been struggling today, now down to a 6.3. Obviously no Pizarro to come on for him, so it does mean that our only striking option off the bench is Obando, and he does look a little bit more suited to that advanced forward role than someone like Nikola Iliev, so I think that's what we're going to do for these last 20 minutes, still with that 1-goal advantage. And shortly off the back of that sub of the Waine Train, now we've got a couple of players out there on red hearts, and also this is our last stoppage. Both our wingers who did set up that first goal, they will come off the goal scorer, and Irankunda, he will be replaced by Sarawi, and it will be Whittaker coming on for Samardzic, and also might bring on Serginho Dest late in this one, bit of a risk with his high injury susceptibility, but a quality player, usual starter, he can come off the bench late and hopefully help us see this one out. And just as we do that, there is a highlight that does start to City, albeit poor giveaway there. We almost trip over each other, but thankfully do find a way to keep hold of the ball. And Parola plays that one out to Whittaker, one of a few players now who should have fresh legs. He plays that one back to Dest, doesn't quite find someone. As Som goes down, it's a really messy bit of play that, and I think Edison actually ended up coming up with a save, and now a chance here for City to do something on the counter-attack. Calvin Phillips there with a elephant's first touch, thankfully, and we do get the ball back, and good work there from Obando, get that one back for us in the other half of the field. Now Morgan Whittaker makes his way inside the box. What can he do? Plays that one back to Sarawi. Now Simon Som with an effort from just inside the box, and he just gets some help there from the inside of that left-hand post and puts it away. Off the back of that, we are going to slow down the tempo, start to time waste just a little bit with a 2-goal lead and only 15 minutes left. But that was a very interesting highlight, quite to and fro, but Simon Som with a massive goal there to give us a buffer lead, and that might be the goal that will send us through to the Champions League final just outside of the box. I think Edison got a touch on that, but couldn't quite keep it out of the back of the net, and we are now 3-1 in front.
Yeah.
And we've just made our way into the last 5 minutes of this game, but unfortunately that risk that we took with our last substitution might come back to bite us because Serginho Dest, a red injury. This could give City a chance here to potentially get back into this game. Now, I think Simon Som actually is someone who can somewhat cover right back, kind of like John Buckley. So he'll go back to right back. I think for these last couple of minutes, we'll play with just one defensive midfielder and might even pull Iliev back from that pressing forward that he's playing as back to a central attacking midfielder. So going to go to somewhat of a 4-1-3-1. Also chuck some of these guys on some more defensive duties compared to what they normally are, just to hopefully make sure City don't get a goal back and make things interesting in these last couple of minutes. And off the back of making those changes, having gone down to 10 men rather unluckily, there are some late highlights in this game just starting as we make our way into 5 minutes of added time of thrown here for City, albeit deep inside of their own half. Phillips, who to be fair, that loose touch down the right end of the field for them, that proved quite costly. We hit them on the counter-attack to take that 2-0 lead, but now we look to play it from back, and actually nice little ball over the top there from Tobias, and Simon Song flicks it on for Whitaker. Obando back forward to Whitaker. Might actually be a chance for us here to make it 3-0. Squares that nicely for Obando. Big chance, but unfortunately can't quite hit the target. Still only 2-0 up, but to be fair, it wastes some time in City trying to play out from the back yet again. Find themselves and bother. Another big chance there for Obando. The ball fell beautifully for him, but a bit of a toe poke there, and this time it's on target, but straight into the path of Edison. But to be fair, don't mind these highlights. 2-0 up and wasting some time here, so City can't get a chance to try and grab a goal back and make things interesting against 10 men late in this Champions League semi-final. Parola plays that one back to Tobias as there's lots of highlights here inside of added time. In City, they are now on the ball as they'll be looking to be for most of the remainder of this game. Nice ball over the top there for Bernardo, squares it, and it's a decent chance there for Haaland, but Tobias actually with a good save, and Silva, he was offside anyway, and that will do it. And in our first season in the Champions League, Plymouth Argyle have made their way through to the Champions League final. It's a 2-0 win at home park, backing up that 1-1 draw against City in yesterday's episode, and that will set up a final against Napoli, which should be coming up in tomorrow's episode to wrap up the save, at least in terms of the gameplay part. Might sim forward a bit off the back of that and just see how the Waine Train does get on off the back of a Champions League, hopefully, winning campaign, and also hopefully a Premier League winning one as well. We'll come back shortly and hopefully get the chance to lift the Premier League title. And in fact, before we do that, just checking on that injury to Serginho Dest. Of course, he did pick it up late when we did bring him on off the bench, and unfortunately, that wasn't a good idea. He's got a twisted ankle out for 3 to 5 weeks. That does mean I think he's going to be very touch and go for the games that we do play in tomorrow's episode. Of course, we've also got an FA Cup final, but that Champions League one as well, that might be a little bit of a stretch to get him involved with for that game. That might mean our right back depth in terms of that Champions League squad is a little bit thin. I think I'll need to change John Buckley back to a right back option off the back of this, but Serginho Dest out for 3 to 4 weeks. That does mean he'll miss most of the remainder of the season, if not all of it. So unfortunately, Dest is going to be missing for a little while, but hopefully we can go forward now and get ready to play Napoli in that final by lifting the Premier League. And we are back about to take on Aston Villa in our second last game of the Premier League season. That does mean, unfortunately, didn't quite pick up that win in our next game, which yet again was against Manchester City. To be fair, taking these guys on a lot on camera this season, so it actually works out quite well, not having to show you guys another game against these guys. But to be fair, for a while, it did look like this might be the game that we do pick up the title, because we scored a goal here for around a half hour left. Nice square there from Gutierrez for Obando. Did rotate the team actually quite a bit for this game and still went 1-0 up at the Etihad. But then in the last minute of added time, Jeremy Doku plays one over the top there for Haaland. Tobias comes out for it, doesn't quite get in the way, and that late Haaland goal does mean we just pick up a point there from the Etihad. To be fair, we'll take that with some of the players that we did put out for this game, but it does mean now we are 3 points clear of Arsenal, but they've only got one game left in the season. They're the only team who could catch us, and even then, with an 11 goal differential advantage in our favour, you'd like to think the Premier League title is already coming to home park, with just one more point from these next two games. We'll make sure first up we take on Aston Villa in that extra game we need to play before the final day of the season. Hopefully we can pick up at least a draw from this game and lift the title at home park, albeit to be fair, that would be happening on the final day of the season anyway, as we take on Brentford, and that does look like a very nice fixture on the final day of the season. You might think that Brentford have something to play for in that one, but then you have a look at the other fixtures, and Fulham and Brighton, they take each other on. Only one of those teams then could go above Brentford, so those guys are safe for this season. They don't really have a lot to play for, but hopefully we can get the job done here over Aston Villa. To be fair, this is quite a tricky match. These guys in fifth on the table actually doing a bit better than City, and this is their game in hand. If they win this one, they'll be finishing 5th at the very worst in the Premier League this season, and we'll come back shortly and hopefully get the job done and lift the Premier League title. And here are the team sheets for this day. We were hopefully going to lift the Premier League title. Now with us at the moment, because of what's coming up, FA Cup final and Champions League final now, we are rotating quite heavily, especially as we just need 1 point from these final 2 games. Only 4 regular first choice players starting. Tobias Diamonde, we've got Alex Scott, and also Nicola Iliev. Apart from that, everyone else is getting a rest, including the Waine Train. Aston Villa going with that same 4-2-4, but hopefully we can pick up a draw here at home so we can lift that Premier League title. And just past the 20-minute mark, first highlight of this game, and it does come here to Aston Villa, albeit they do have to make their way out from the back. Hopefully we can put some good pressure on them now. Christensen there at left back today tries to claim that one, doesn't, and then gets done there from Watkins down the other end of the field. He gets a foot in there, it falls oh so kindly to Jacob Ramsey. That wasn't the greatest highlight there for Victor Christensen, the former Leicester City left back. He had a couple of chances there to get us on the ball and then to stop this play from Aston Villa, but unfortunately didn't on a couple of occasions. And when he did, he actually somewhat assist the goal. And that's not ideal here in a game. We just need a point from to seal the title in front of our home fans as we go 1-0 down, albeit might actually be a chance to get Aston Villa to make it 2-0. Yet again, they do look to play out from the back, but yet again, we do try and win that ball from them nice and high up the field. But Christensen there, I felt like, with a bit of a dodgy start. Hopefully that's not a sign of things to come. The goal scorer there and Ramsey lose touch. Thankfully Diamonde can win that ball back for us. Now Omolagic plays that one forward looking for Pizarro. Paul Torres will try and clear it but poorly. And Christensen here might get a chance to make up for that first goal, which we did give away. He does, because he picks up an assist and squares that one for Nicola Iliev, who, to be fair, isn't that far off the all-time goal-scoring record. I believe it was from Jack Cock here at Plymouth Argyle. He's only a couple of goals away from that now. That could be something to look forward to in tomorrow's episode, but we do make it 1-1. Did think there, if we cancel what was coming up, we can then encourage our guys instead of demanding more. But that was a poor clearance from Paul Torres, straight to Christensen, who sets that one up for Nicola Iliev. And thankfully, we grab an equaliser straight off the back of Aston Villa taking the lead. And going forward to just shy of the half-hour mark now, and hopefully a chance for us here to maybe grab a goal to put us in front, just to hopefully make sure we do pick up that one needed point from the second to last game of the season. A throw in our favour down that left-hand side. Omolagic is on the ball, starts to make his way forward, does the youngster, but unfortunately, bit of a loose touch there, and it does give Aston Villa a chance to do something on the counter-attack. Williams heads that one forward, but then we get caught out at the back with both him and Christensen, and Watkins on the counter-attack will put that one past Tobias, and we are behind yet again. Aston Villa, to be fair, a team so far in the save that we haven't beaten. They might be our bogey team here, hopefully not for too much longer. But Marcus Leonardo, nice ball over the top there. Williams did get a hit on the end of that one, but unfortunately straight back to a Villa player. And our left side defence so far struggling just a little bit. Christensen on a 7.7. That seems a little bit generous as we now go 2-1 down.
Yeah.
And just a few minutes shy of half-time, this is the last thing we need with some cup finals coming up off the back of the Premier League season. Sarawi's forced from the field with a red injury. Facundo Farias will come on for him. And deep into 4 minutes of added time here in the first half, there is a throw to Aston Villa inside of the final third of the field. A goal here, and we might be forcing it into the final day of the season. A decent chance there too, but thankfully Tobias gets a touch on that, then comes off the underside of the crossbar, and he claims it. But that is a disappointing first half. To be fair, stats-wise, actually quite an even game, but we're a goal down. To be fair, Pizarro, coming back from injury, he's not doing too well. The Waine Train will bring him on here at halftime, so hopefully he can score a goal to make sure that we do lift the Premier League title on this day. But at the moment, it's going to the final match of the season as we're losing to Aston Villa. And pretty early here in the second half, and Reece Williams at centre-back has picked up a yellow card coming on for him. Lorenzo Perola, a bit of experience and a better player, to hopefully help us grab an equaliser. And in fact, almost immediately off the back of that previous sub, now it's Adam Randall with a yellow card, so Simon Som can come on for him. And also, we might bring on here Morgan Whitaker, seeing as this is our last sub for Omolagic. Bit of experience here to hopefully help us grab that equaliser so we can lift the Premier League trophy. And only a few minutes off the back of those last couple of substitutions that we have made, now it's a goal kick here in our favour, quite similar position to where those first couple of goals came in the first half. We play the ball out to that left-hand side and do get up to Nicola Iliev. Now Simon Som starts to make his way forward off the back of that big goal that he scored against City a couple of games ago now in that Champions League second leg. Now, a nice ball played forward there from Spencer for Nicola Iliev, just try and give Mosquera a rest because he's also a player at right back when he's on a heavy workload who can get quite injury prone. But I do think here that Iliev was offside, and unfortunately it was the case of that one will not count. We'll demand more as we still trail by a goal and might have to take this one until the final day of the season. And just about to make our way now into the last 20 minutes of this game, we are still a goal down, so because of that, we'll chuck those wing backs on to attack. I did suggest we might do that going into today's episode. Thankfully, didn't need to in that City game, but now that we do need to pick up a goal here to try and lift the trophy, we'll be a bit more positive for these last 20 minutes, and hopefully it will help us grab that equaliser. And the highlights do eventually come with 10 minutes left in this one, a corner here in our favour. It's headed out, and then Parola tries an overhead kick, and to be fair, not that far away, comes off the side netting. That would have been some goal to give us a Premier League title, but we are still one goal down. Now it's time for us, I think, to try a higher defensive line, also chuck Simon Som onto support, get our goalkeeper to distribute quickly, so hopefully we get that goal that we need to lift the title. And very short the fact of those changes now are thrown here around about inside of the final third, starting to put the pressure here on this Aston Villa team, but unfortunately the Waine Train had the ball but does lose it as we were on the attack, albeit good work that time from Diamonde to win that one from Watkins, and now Whittaker inside the box does let off a shot looking for that bottom left corner, but unfortunately there, good save from Martinez off the back of that. We'll just cancel just to make sure that we do see this highlight, don't shout, demand more like I was going to, because there could be something happening from this corner. Don't want to kill that off. It is in our favour, but unfortunately can't do anything. It does look like that ball a bit too deep for Morgan Whittaker, and Simon Som plays this one far post. Martinez will head it away. To be fair, still keeping some pressure on, but eventually Jalert there does clear the lines. We are still 2-1 behind. Not really too sure how based on the stats from this game, but as a bit of a rarity, we're not quite as clinical in front of goal as we have been throughout most of the season, as we make our way now into the last minute or so of added time. And there's one more highlight here, a throw in our favour around about on the halfway line. Alex Scott starts to make his way forward, plays that to Farias. Now Whittaker with another massive chance there, looking to beat Martinez at the near post, but that one a little bit too close to him. He makes a big save there yet again, does Emi Martinez. To be fair, Whittaker brought him on for Omolagic. He's actually playing worse and has also picked up a yellow card. We have the ball there inside the box, but unfortunately those players down our left-hand side kind of trip over each other, and it's a defeat for the first time in a long time in the Premier League, 2-1 against Aston Villa. So it does mean we haven't quite wrapped up the Premier League just yet. It will go down to the final day of the season, albeit it should be a very winnable game at home against Brentford, just outside of the relegation zone. And to be fair, goal differential wise, we might be safe already, but we'll come back shortly and play that final game of the season, and hopefully just pick up that 1 point needed to make sure that we do lift that Premier League trophy. And here are the team sheets for the final day of the Premier League season. We're a bit stronger than we were for that previous game where we did take on Aston Villa. Graves is in there for Parola as the central defender. Also, our defensive midfielders, we've rotated those, so it does mean that Randall as well as Bischoff get a start, and also both our strikers, our first team ones in Waine and Iliev, they get a rest coming in for them, Obando and Pizarro. But hopefully against the team with nothing to play for, despite the fact they are just outside of the relegation zone, this is a team that we can be beating, or at least pick up that draw against to lift the table. Also, Arsenal away at Sunderland, to be fair, a game you'd expect them to win, but an early highlight here might be in our favour, as we do win the ball there, as Brentford did look to get on the attack, but hopefully can bounce back from that defeat to Aston Villa. Hopefully not make that a bit of a form pattern going into those cup finals that we do have coming up in tomorrow's episode. We get the chance to potentially pick up a quadruple. Obando there with an early goal set up yet again from Urinkunda, albeit waiting for a VAR check, and it did look like there he might have just straight offside, and unfortunately that was the case, but encouraging signs early. Even if that goal is not going to stand, it is still 0-0 here at Home Park. And only a couple of minutes off the back of that disallowed goal, now it's a throw-in here just inside of the opposition half in our favour. Obando plays that one back to Graves, and now Bischoff, nice ball over the top there for Pizarro, who will beat David Raya as he comes out to try and make himself big there. But I do think yet again that our attacker might have been offsides. So far, both our replacement strikers not keeping themselves in onside position. Indeed, that is the case. 2 goals that have been ruled out, so it's still 0-0. And things cooled down a little bit off the back of that hot opening with those offside goals, but now a highlight for us here inside the last 10 minutes of the first half. A nice little pass there too from Obando to find Irinkunda. Now Gutierrez makes his way inside the box, pulls that back nicely for Tom Bischoff, the number 7, with his 7th goal of the season. That is a nice one off the back of that. Will cancel our shout, but unfortunately it already went through. But that is a goal that will make sure, hopefully, we will lift the Premier League title unless Brentford do come back. But at least if we're scoring goals in this game, it should mean that goal differential at the very least will still be in our advantage, even if Brentford do stake a fight back and do win this game. Arsenal, they are beating Sunderland, so if they do pick up a win by enough goals and we lose by a few, they could actually jump us on the table, but still, that is a bit of a far-fetched scenario. Late highlight here in the first half of Brentford, as they do look to claim an equaliser, but so far, we're in front. Of course, we just need a draw to lift the title. Decent strike there from Mbeumo, but it does just clip the crossbar and go out of play for a goal kick, and that is half-time. In front by 1-0 to be for Brentford with quite a few chances. It looks like kind of like City in the second leg of that Champions League semi, but no shots on target here at halftime too. Diamonde on a yellow card, and there's a couple of other players out there I'm thinking might not be the worst idea to take off Irinkunda. Actually, they did mention during that first half, picked up a knock, but does look like he's unaffected. I think we'll play things safe here and just keep our big players out there until this is under wraps and we can make sure we will be Premier League champions. We'll get the second half underway with that 1-0 lead. And just making our way up now to the hour mark, still 1-0 and no highlights so far in the second half, but a couple more players are on yellow cards, so we'll take them off. Parola, he can come on for Diamonde, and Graves, he can switch to that ball-playing defender as per usual. Also Adam Randall on a yellow card. Simon Som can get some late game time for him. And Nestri Irinkunda, as I said, did pick up a little knock there in the first half. Will play things safe and bring on Facundo Farias in his place. Still 1-0 in front with a half hour left. And 10 minutes off the back of those previous subs, now it's time for one more, as Samadzic is just struggling out there slightly on a 6.5. Also a player who can get quite injury prone when on a heavy workload. Don't want that going into those upcoming cup finals. So Whitaker can come on for him with 20 minutes left. To highlight there that gets cut out. But now a throw in our favour. Mosquera tries to knock that one into the mixer. A little bit helter-skelter here, but thankfully do get the ball back there through Simon Som. But poor pass backwards there, looking for Gutierrez to run onto it. Interesting tackle there. That was from Farias, but thankfully Gutierrez makes up his blushes. But then a poor pass that time from our goal scorer in Bishop, and a chance here for Brentford to do something on the counter-attack. Henry makes his way forward, or at least tries to, down the left-hand side, but this time Whitaker wins that ball back for us, so it might be a chance for us to do something here on the counter-attack. Farias plays that one forward to Obando, just in behind. That would have been a long-range screamer, but just off target, so we are still only up by 1-0 now inside the last 15 minutes of this game, and we've got one more sub left, and Pizarro is down to a red heart. The Waine Train will hopefully score a goal here to make sure we lift the title, but at the moment that would still be the case as we're 1-0 in front. And in fact, there's a highlight shortly off the back of the introduction of the Waine Train. A free kick to Brentford, not a very good one. They give that ball straight to Farias. Now Simon Som is on the ball. Whitaker will find the Waine Train. He's onside, just as we predicted. He might have scored the goal that will guarantee that Plymouth do lift the Premier League title, albeit it was kind of already under wraps with that goal differential advantage, but still, let's not ruin the story. The Waine Train with a big goal there on the final day of the season to make it 2-0, and that should be enough to make sure that the Prem is coming to home park now that we've got that buffer goal against Brentford. And only a couple of minutes off the back of that Waine Train goal, some instant impact there from the main man of the save. There is a highlight here. Brentford, they pump that one deep. We do get a hit on it, but they win it back, and now De Silva starts to make his way forward somewhat down that left-hand side. It'll be a good foot in there from Mosquera, and we get that ball back now. Bischoff plays that one back to Jacob Graves, going forward back out to Mosquera, who starts to bomb forward a little bit down that right-hand side. Now the Waine Train plays that one to Obando, back in there for Farias. We'll try and chip David Raya, and he pulls it off. That's a bit unfortunate. Would have actually quite liked there, the Waine Train, for his goal to be the match-winning one, but it is going to be a comfortable win for us here off the back of a very nice finish that from Facundo Farias. Some good bench impact here from us in the final moments of this game, and thankfully we're going to do it in style with a win as we make it 3-0 against Brentford. And now making our way into 6 minutes of added time, there's a late highlight here in favour of the away team, and Octavio there takes on a shot, and Nathan Collins just pinches that one from right under the nose of Tobias. They might have grabbed a goal back here, Brentford, albeit would just be a consolation one, but we are waiting for a VAR check, and the goal has been disallowed, which is a little bit unfortunate. Might mean we have to pay our players a clean sheet bonus. They'll be getting plenty of bonuses already off the back of lifting the Premier League, but that is just offside, so it does get ruled out there. We are still in front by 3-0 to beat. The overall stats in this game are quite even, but Brentford just struggling in terms of hitting the target enough compared to us, albeit they might get a late chance here to make it 3-1. Aya plays that one forward to Sargent. Now De Silva finds Otavio in a bit of space, starts to cut inside and goes looking for that top right corner. Yet again goes close. He's actually had some good impact in these last couple of minutes, but the woodwork saves us there. We win the title, but we don't see the trophy lift, so that kind of feels like a complete waste of time. But the Waine Train does score a goal in the final game of the season. We win the Premier League, I'm pretty sure. Just go forward here to make sure that is the case. I'm not really too sure how it wouldn't be, but we're being told here that our players can enjoy the celebration. So that might be the beta glitch still, because of course we did start the save during the beta. I do think at times some people were reporting that they weren't getting the trophy lift for league wins. That would be a bummer. Hopefully we can make up for that somewhat tomorrow by lifting both the FA Cup and the Champions League to make it a quadruple. But there's the confirmation. Plymouth Argyle are the Premier League champions off the back of a final day 3-0 win at home over Brentford. So a bit of a bummer there that we didn't get a trophy lift to celebrate our Premier League win, but there is the confirmation. Currently, we are sitting on a double of Premier League and the Carabao Cup title. Apparently, the pivotal match was that 4-1 win away at Arsenal, of course, the runners-up, and that was right off the back of us going to that standard defensive line, as you'll see probably tomorrow with the end-of-season review. That has certainly made us a lot more consistent in this current season, and from there I think we only lost one more league game, that one you saw earlier against Aston Villa, but picked up some really good results throughout this domestic season, and hopefully we can cap it off tomorrow by at least picking up the Champions League, albeit it would be nice to get some revenge on Arsenal for last year when they did beat us in that FA Cup final. But there is the Plymouth Argyle name on the trophy. The board are ecstatic with that Premier League win, and we go up a little bit more. There's all the money that we have been given. To be fair, we had already been given the transfer budget for next season here at Plymouth Argyle, having already qualified for the Champions League. It wasn't actually as big as it was last season, only £50 million, albeit a wage budget of £270,000, but that's more for you guys if you take over the save. I'll leave a save file link in the description of tomorrow's video, where hopefully we can kick on and pick up the quadruple when we take on Arsenal in the FA Cup final before taking on Napoli in the final of the Champions League. But that will do it for today's episode. Went a little bit longer than I was hoping off the back of that loss to Aston Villa, but thankfully before then made our way through to the Champions League final, having beaten City 2-0 in the second leg, and took until the final day of the season, but a Waine Train goal helped us to a 3-0 win over Brentford to lift the Premier League title. If you enjoyed that episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It's greatly appreciated, and we'll come back tomorrow and wrap up my gameplay part of the save with that FA Cup final and that Champions League final, where hopefully the Waine Train can pick up the quadruple. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.